Welcome back to the MMA podcast with me and Alan, MMA Sucker Writer. We are here to talk a lot of things in the MMA world. We're not talking about UFC 175 this week. Probably next week we will discuss the huge card between Machida and Chris Weidman. But today we got a bunch of stuff to talk about in MMA, especially Alan's trip to California where he actually did meet me.
Yeah, man, I was a blast. We saw Adam Hunter.
MMA Roasted on Twitter.
Exactly, aka MMA Roasted, great dude, and we met his buddy Todd Rex. People listen to their podcast, absolutely recommend it. They have Jake Ellenberg on there weekly, and just a whole bunch of guests. They don't really need the promotion; they're doing pretty well for themselves on Fox. But major shout to them. They couldn't treat us better. But,
yeah, it was definitely a fun comedy. And if you guys are in the LA area, which I know some of you guys are, you should definitely go check out Adam's stand up. It was a great time. Killer lineup that they had. Probably one terrible comedian, and it was just some random chick that we didn't care about from Canada A. But other than that, yeah, we did it. It was a fun time. And me and Al, we talked to T Rex for a long time about MMA. He told us funny stories about Andre Arlovsky, so it was definitely a really, really good time. Speaking of which, Andre Arlovsky made his return. Alan, he made his return at the last UFC.
You want to do 174 first or the New Mexico card? We haven't been on in a few weeks.
The Mexico card. What was the Mexico card again? I can't remember.
The infamous Diego Sanchez BS.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't catch that one yet.
Oh, you didn't catch it?
The fight night. Yeah, I didn't watch the fight night yet. I haven't watched that fight night yet. I was going to watch it Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, it was about like 3 weeks ago. We haven't been on since I think like the Musasa thing. Things happen, people. But yeah, we're gonna be more consistent. Like I said, next week we're definitely gonna do one. But anyway, stick with this. Basically, that card, Ben Tennyson finally shut up critics. You know, people have been getting on his case for being dull, which I just never got. I always thought Benson's fights were always exciting. The Josh Thompson fight was a little dull, but overall, I always enjoyed Benson. It's nice to see him shut up critics. So he beat Ruslan Khabilov with the RNC. It was pretty nice. And obviously, the big story here is with Diego Sanchez and Ross Pearson. Oh man, you haven't seen it yet, but when you see it, you're just gonna laugh.
Well, so who won the fight between Ross Pearson and Diego?
Diego won the fight, but practically every media circuit, everyone picked Ross Pearson. Everyone had Ross. Ross to me won 30-27. Diego was rocked at one point. Yet one judge actually gave him 30-27, and it just goes back to like people wondering, man. The New Mexico Commission, what they're about, and two, obviously favoring Diego. And another interesting thing was that Ariel Rouhani interviewed Carlos Condit a few weeks ago, and Condit openly said New Mexico Athletic State Commission is basically a bunch of amateurs and they don't know what they're doing. So even Condit, who lives in Albuquerque, even he called them out, like saying the commission screwed up over there and they don't know what they're doing. So not good, but that's the lowdown. But yeah, definitely check that out. John Dotson looked damn good. I think he's going to face Mighty Mouse again. I think that's where it's going. How do you feel about that?
Johnson, I don't know. Is that going to be a TV fight? Because I'm not going to pay a pay-per-view to see Demetrius Johnson fight again. I'm sorry.
I'd probably say it's a Fox card. Who knows? But yes, because I heard good things about 174's buy rate. I hear it's on the level of Bellator's pay-per-view. That's how bad it did. But whatever, we'll see.
Dana had that pissed off look on his face. You know when Dana White's pissed off, he has that like his forehead's up and he tries to crack a smile, but you know he cannot crack a smile because he's like pissed off. That's how pissed off Dana White was at 174, man.
And then he saw Randy Couture was all over.
Yeah, but then fucking Randy Couture.
This court was full of controversy, though. It wasn't just Diego Sanchez. Rafael Dos Anjos beat Jason High, but it was kind of a controversial decision. Personally, I thought that the High was done. I thought it wasn't early stoppage, but he thought it was early stoppage, and he shoved Kevin Mulhall, gets released from the company, and now banned for fighting for a year. Very harsh. Very harsh for a guy who is not a household name, Jason High. And he gets cut, then he gets suspended for a year. It's just like someone mentioned this. Didn't Chuck Tito, when they first fought, didn't Tito shove a referee after the first round or something?
Yeah, he did.
It's just, man, this has always been an issue. It's just a favoritism. It's just, man, if it was John Jones, what would happen?
Oh, John Jones did that. John Jones did that. John Jones will just post an Instagram video, like, "Oh, I pushed the referee. John Jones is a mean guy." Like he'll do something stupid like that.
Exactly. I just don't like how it's favoritism and just not being rational. But I just feel bad for Jason. It wasn't like a big time thing. Like it wasn't like Paul Daly punching Josh Koscheck at
Mm.
the belt, which was just
I
horrendous.
don't even think Paul Daly got that bad of a suspension after that. I think he was only suspended for like 60 days. Like
Yeah,
he was not suspended long after because I remember
you should look this up. When was his next fight after the Koscheck?
I believe it was like I just remember he got released from the UFC, but I remember he was fighting on Strikeforce like 8 months later at least. Like, and you have to train and stuff. So let me check that up because I remember Paul Daly did not.
Wow, dude, I got it right here. Check this. So he fought Koscheck May 8th, 2010. He lost to Koscheck. Then he went to some Impact FC2. Fought on July
Yeah,
18th.
see, like I said, he was not suspended for long. Like his latest major fight that you saw him on TV again was against Nick Diaz, I would say. I think.
He did fight Scott Smith in
Okay.
Strikeforce before that, but the Diaz one was a big deal.
Yeah, that was like his first major fight since that incident. Like that was the thing. Like Paul Daly did not even get suspended for that, and that's more disrespectful than I would say than pushing the referee. I mean Anderson Silva, he almost like broke Herb Dean's leg. Remember when he got knocked out by Weidman? He was trying to like say like no I'm fine. It's normal. Like all that other crap. Like yeah, and that's kind of a rough a year suspension. Like shit, man. When an MMA, I see worse in boxing. Like some of these kids in boxing, like literally hit the referee and they don't get suspended for long at all.
I agree. Then another incident happened. This course is full of incidents. Then Brian Caraway beat Goyoto Perez, but on his way to getting a rear naked choke, he was pretty clearly fish hooking Perez. You know what fish hooking
Yeah.
was. He went for a clear fish hooking to obviously free up for the RNC. And then we had Misha take freaking out of line saying we're all idiots if we thought it was fish hooking for the finish. And the fish hooking incident didn't affect the finish. It was in the first round and the finish was in the second round. But it's just, dude, how dirty are you gonna be? Especially Caraway, his reputation, just like, come on now.
Dang, dude, this card does not seem like good things happened.
By the way, another thing for this card was you knew the decision. You know, a commentator is supposed to be as supportive as possible.
Yeah.
Even Kenny Florian, like everything was quiet. Kenny Florian goes, Diego, I love you, man, but Ross Pearson clearly won that fight. Whoever judged that fight should be ashamed of themselves. Like he says this live on broadcast. That's when you know things are bad.
When Kenny Florian is saying bad stuff about the judges, yeah, you know something's wrong with Kenny Florian. Well, Kenny Florian thinks he should have won a lot of fights in the UFC, which you could argue, but yeah, man, like that's not good. That is not good. Now, if John Anik said that, that'd be hilarious. But Kenny Florian saying that, that's not good. John Anik goes in the cage. Diego, I love you and all this other stuff, but you did not win that fight, bro. Like that'd be hilarious. But wow, Kenny Florian said that.
So the fights itself weren't that special. If you want to look at probably the main two fights, you just want to watch Diego Ross for just the stupidity that occurred with the judges. Just how clearly, like I think Ross Pearson, he got paid his win bonus, which is good and everything. And like Dana White said that Joe Silva is going to book his next fight as if he won. So that's at least good, but just unfortunate. This is a loss on your record. It's just so unnecessary. But
Especially for a guy like Ross Pearson who's like working really, really hard, to like get back into the mainstream of the lightweight division and get into, you know, kind of title contention. I don't know if it's really title contention, but kind of get into the mix again for Ross Pearson and Diego Sanchez, who, let's face it, he's good for against fighters that want to fight like him. He's not good against fighters that don't want to fight like him, that want to take him down, that want to just tire him out, because that's the thing about Diego, just tire him out and then it's over.
I don't know why he doesn't look for wrestling. Is wrestling more? He just wants to strike now. It's not working. Like he after the fight, he called out Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz would do a number on him.
Diaz boxing, man.
But Nate's just so much more technical, and it's not like Diego uses like his wrestling and his power to his advantage. Like I don't see that happening. Like I don't even think that fight's gonna happen. But
I think Diego fell in love with his striking during the time when he was really, really hot and he was going for the lightweight title when BJ Penn was actually in shape and he actually looked good. It was like when Diego was just like knocking out people. It's kind of like with Koscheck at the same time when he was going for against GSP. It was like they were falling more in love with their striking because they were just like knocking people out, finishing people, dominating on the feet against lesser superior strikers. And so then when they get into the cage, instead of using your superior skills, because BJ Penn, let's face it, Frankie Edgar semi won the first BJ Penn and Frankie fight because of wrestling. And, Koscheck, he won one round against GSP because he wrestled. So they just fell in love with their striking because they felt like, oh, I'm invincible. I have the hands of steel. I can knock out anyone. And that's what hurt them.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, we'll get to, before we get into all like the breaking news, let's talk about 174. The prelims, that was pretty weak prelims, nothing significant happened. A lot of decisions on this card.
Yeah, none of the fights really were like very like, I don't know. None of the fights really stood out to me at all in the whole main card. Like I was sitting there, like I'm probably Albrowski and Schaub was like the better of the fights, but there was controversy behind that too because everyone thought Hybrid won.
Well, the only finish was well, you don't want me calling him by his abbreviated name, so I'll say Olvin Saint Pro. We're not gonna call him OSP because you don't like that shit. So he beat Jimmo. That was just it's a verbal injury. So I don't know, man. That was just whatever. I like OSP or whatever the hell you want to call him, but I don't know. I want to see him against better competition. I felt like this fight was just kind of throwaway for him.
Yeah, no, it definitely was because they see something. They always do this. They always give like if there's someone that they look at like, oh, this guy is the future of the light heavyweight division. Let's throw him against all these losers, and then afterwards, the proving ground, the gatekeeper of the light heavyweight division, we'll put him against Phil Davis. And if he can beat Phil Davis, you get title shot.
Well, I will give UFC props. They did give him a tough fight against Thiago Silva, and then obviously Thiago Silva decided to go crazy. But and I know people are like, Thiago Silva, he's not very tough. But look, Thiago Silva brings it. He's gonna look to take your head off. That would have been a very interesting fight for OSP, but what are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's fighting. They already announced. I think he's fighting Bader in August. So you were mentioning Gatekeeper before. Ryan Bader's kind of in that role. It'll be interesting.
WrestleFest 2014, baby. Ryan Bader versus Ovince St. Pierre.
Well, Bader obviously he was on the same card. He beat Feijao, and I just expected this to happen. Feijao never had great cardio. I just feel like I know he looked to be in a little bit better shape, but I just feel like his time has passed, and he just all that striking, all the credentials he has. I just think it's irrelevant now. He can't hang with these guys that just are constantly closing a distance on him.
Yeah, man. Feijao and Jacare were two of the hottest names that I was looking forward to in the UFC. I mean, no one calls him by his real name. No one calls Jacare Ronaldo Souza, and no one calls Feijao Rafael Cavalcante, whatever, how you pronounce his name. Cavalcante. Like, no one calls them by their names. They call them by their nicknames. That's how you know you're a big deal in fighting, when you get called by a nickname. But now it's like, Feijao's not even a name. Like, I don't even know. Has this guy won a legit UFC fight against someone that's legit and not some random Brazilian guy on the Brazil cards? Has he actually beat someone worth a damn?
He beat Igor Prokayach, but that's not really saying much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A random Brazilian on the Brazilian cards. That's who he that's who he beats. No, random Croatian. Well, he probably beat him on a Brazilian card, right? It had to be like a UFC fight night.
It was on the Vitor Henderson card.
Exactly, yeah. Random Brazil card. And like he's lost to Thiago Silva, right? He lost to Thiago Silva like in the first round. Yeah, exactly. So in all honesty, but this guy right here, he needs to change camps. Like I understand he likes training with his friends, Jacare. I'm pretty sure Jacare also trains with Aldo and Barral. But in all honesty, these guys, they don't train for conditioning. We all know Aldo. He's not really the biggest conditioned guy in the world. Neither is Barral. Jacare, same thing. So he needs to find a new change of scenery. Maybe go to Thailand or something. It worked wonders for Overeem.
Yeah, he goes to Black House. So yeah, he's with all those guys. Nogueira, Machia, JBS, all those guys. So.
Yeah, his Brazilian jiu-jitsu, as everyone in Team Black House has, apparently, even though I have not seen freaking one submission move by Junior Dos Santos ever. But yeah, everyone in Team Black House has submissions. He's a good ground, like he can definitely hit submissions, but he just needs to, expand his range, go to different camps, like go somewhere in the States, learn something new. Like learn a new fighting style so that way you can be successful, because he's still talented. He's still a talented fighter. It's not like this dude is terrible.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it. It's like his record now. He hasn't done anything relevant since probably knocking out King Mo, which was like in 2010. He won the strike first title. Then he got knocked out by Hendo. He did beat Yoel Romero, but that was a very raw Yoel Romero.
Yeah.
Yoel Romero is very different now. then he beat Mike Kyle, but then he failed the drug test. So it's like his last major thing was probably beating King Mo.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this guy, like, what? He's not old, right? Well, he's kind of like in the Anderson age, right? He's like
Deja
30s.
is
He's like in his mid
34.
30s. Oh, okay, so he's like 34.
That's not bad in the middleweight division. Middleweight, light
Yeah,
heavyweight.
that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. He's fine. He can definitely do a lot better, you know?
Anyway, we were talking about Arlovsky. Let's get into our Arlovsky shop a little bit. You were talking kind of positive about the fight. No offense, I'm not gonna go pull a Dana White and say this fight should have been prelims or anything. I'm not gonna go that crazy about it. Like there was some parts of it I enjoyed, but kind of dud, right?
Well, better than the freaking title match and that Aries bullshit that I was watching and my
That's
co-main.
that's fair, and I will give Schaub credit. People like to rip on Schaub, because he's arrogant. But hey, to me, it looked like Schaub was willing to engage more on Arlovsky. You look at that first round, Arlovsky was just looking to hold him against the cage and just. Where I think Arlovsky, I don't know, like he looked in better shape. You got to see that he was nervous, and then he got taken down, and it just honestly.
I thought Schaub won that fight. I was surprised that Arlovsky won. I was like, oh, Hybrid won in a okay heavyweight fight. Like I really thought, Schaub won that fight, but then they gave it to split decision on Arlovsky. That was kind of confusing to me because I thought Schaub did enough to win. But Schaub's face did look like he got like fucking rammed. But I just felt that, Schaub did enough to win more than
He clearly won
Arlovsky.
the third because he had the takedown and controlled him for at least a minute 30. I think second round he had a little bit more significant strikes if I remember. First round was just a big mission. That was a big mess. Nothing really happened. So it's just Schaub. I think he cuts easy. Like I remember when he fought Krokop. Krokop hit him with like one short elbow, and this guy was like gashed at like they had to stop the fight for like a minute.
Yeah, no, we know Schaub's face is made out of fucking like plastic, man. Remember when Roy Nelson in the Ultimate Fighter finale, Schaub was like about to come in. I was like, oh, he's gonna get knocked out in 3, 2, and that was before I finished counting down to 1, dude. He is not strong in the face whatsoever. But I felt Schaub did enough to win. Like this was definitely for me on main card standards the best fight. That's just the bottom line. It was the best fight on this main card, and that's not saying much. This
Really?
card was garbage. Like,
A lot of people would disagree with you, but I didn't mind it. I didn't hate it as much as other people. A lot of people liked Rory against Woodley, which again, because Rory just
oh god.
controlled them. But this card in general, I'm just used to June pay-per-views being terrible by now. Didn't we talk about this last podcast? Like we know, like they're gonna stack the cards in May and July because those are the big holidays.
Yeah. They never do anything for the June pay-per-views. I think like the last big June pay-per-view was Liddell versus Rich Franklin.
I would say actually Dos Santos Carlin because that was.
Oh yeah, that was a good. Well, that was late June, right? That was late June. That wasn't
That was
early
June,
June.
though, I can tell you, because it was the last pay per view in Vancouver. So yeah, it was 131. It was no June 11th. Yeah, right here. It was also
Okay.
had Kenny Florian, Diego. I know his card was pretty weak, but JDS card was a big deal though.
Yeah.
And Brock was supposed to fight on that, so.
Yeah, I remember because one of these losers, nah, not he's not a loser. Mitch the Guru, he made a video ranting why wasn't Brock Lesnar fighting Junior Dos Santos, and I was all like, did you not read that Brock Lesnar had to pull out like 2 months ago? Like, it was pretty funny, but yeah, like Woodley just disappointed. It's another guy that fell in love with his striking. Like Woodley, you're a fucking wrestler. Take this dumbass down and wrestle with him. You're bigger than him. He got gas. After that first round, I said, "Oh, Rory's winning." Now I remember Streak for the Cash. That ESPN game. My friend was all like, "Yeah, Chase, I chose Tyron Woodley." I'm like, "Why would you choose Tyron Woodley against Rory McDonald? That's the dumbest thing you've ever done." Because as much as I hate Rory, I had him winning this fight because in all honesty, I did not think Tyron would be able to last a little bit. Like to me, Tyron, when I saw him take off his shirt at the weigh-in, I was like, "Oh, dude, this guy does not look like he's ready to fight Rory right now." Because Rory, he had his back knee, he looked good like always, and Tyron Woodley, he just looked fat to me. Like I don't know, he just looked really really sluggish at the weigh-in, and I kind of knew that he would probably pig out a little bit more than he should. And I just knew that he was not ready to fight Rory at this time. Like Rory, he did not overly impress me. He still put me to sleep. He's the new John Fitch of the welterweight division. So thank you, Rory. You can give me naps in between every other UFC fight known to man. But in all honesty, dog, like I hope, and I'm so happy that Dana's not giving the winner of this fight the title shot because I would be so bored watching Hendricks versus Rory. That would be the most boring main event. I would hope Hendricks just knocks him out in one punch, though. That would be amazing. But this fight just didn't do anything for me. It just showed that Rory's dominant. Tyron Woodley needs to work on his conditioning. He needs to, get a better diet going for his camp. Because, like I said, if you watch that weigh-in, you will see Tyron Woodley looks like crap. And then afterwards, you can tell that he probably just pigged out afterwards on whatever food he could find. Like, he did not look ready for this fight.
I gotta say, I didn't see it. I didn't even see it pay-per-view live because, like you said before, I was in LA that weekend, so I didn't watch all the fights I caught up. But I will check out that way.
Yeah, just look at how much bigger he is. Like, you'll say, oh well, he looks fine, he looks bigger. No, you can tell like his six pack does not look really defined. And when you watch him before the fight with Rory, he kind of just looks like he ate so much food because of all the weight he had to cut. Like, he did not look as good as he did for the Condit fight. Like the Condit fight, he looked fucking ripped. But like for this fight, he kind of just looks a little bit softer, not really too active, in my personal opinion. From just watching the weigh-in, it just did not look right for Tyron Woodley. But Rory won. Good for him. I don't know what's next for him. I think he might get the loser of that Lawler and Immortal Matt Brown match.
Well, people thought it was going to be Stun Gun Kim against Lombard, the winner of that, but news came out today that Lombard's out. He got hurt, so now Woodley's stepping up for that fight. So it's going to be Woodley versus Stun Gun Kim, which is kind of an interesting fight. Whatever, it's not till August. But do you think, just in general, Rory, just the way he uses his reach and using that cool question mark kick, which it doesn't really do much damage, but it just keeps the fighters honest. Like we saw Ellenberger and now Woodley, just these smaller, large welterweights. Do you think just now the shorter reach they can't solve Woodley? Like if Hector Lombard fought Rory, you'd be pretty confident picking Rory, right? Especially the way Hector kind of guesses.
Yeah, no, I'll pick Rory in a heartbeat, man, dude. Like if Jake Shields can take you down like as easy, like because Lombard, his nickname fits him. Like he's like the perfect fighter with the perfect nickname. Like what's his nickname? Lightning. Thunder?
I didn't know he had a nickname. I'll look this up, but go on.
It's like Thunder or Lightning Lombard or whatever. It fits perfectly because he is like lightning. He strikes every once in a while. Like when you see him, he goes really, really fast, and you're like, oh my god, this guy's a killer. And then afterwards, it's just like lightning. He fades away and he doesn't do shit.
Lightning. So
it fits. It fits.
I've say that before.
Yeah, that's his nickname, Lightning. I remember Bellator, and then Lightning. He fights like lightning. Like how lightning strikes every once in a while. That's how he is. Strikes every once in a while. Rory, like his reach is good, but it's kind of like when Jones was first starting out. Everyone's like, well, does he know how to use it? Jones knows how to use his reach to some degree. Rory, he knows how to use it, but he doesn't. How should I say? Doesn't really mix it up. Like he uses the same 1-2 combination. He uses, and to throw you off, he'll throw a left instead of a right first. Like that's not really a good job. That's why he lost to Robbie Lawler, because he couldn't figure out Robbie Lawler's striking. He was like, oh my god, what the hell? Robbie Lawler's striking me with all these different punches. I don't know what I'm doing because I only know like 2 combinations with my reach. And like you said, the question mark kick. Like shorter guys are going to struggle with Rory. I don't think Hendricks will, because I think Hendricks is a lot faster than Rory. But he just doesn't know how to really utilize his reach to his full capability yet. Like, he's still a young guy. Like, what is he, like 25, 26 years old, Rory?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he's still a young guy, so he still has a lot of time to improve. But right now, he's not someone that I'm dying to see. I'm not paying, like, fucking money to go see Rory McDonald, boring-ass, like, main event of pay-per-view. That's just me.
Nah, he's definitely going to have to fight one more time for getting a title shot. We'll see. I don't know who they're going to give him. I assume they would not give him Woodley. I guess Lombard's gonna get hot shot there when he's healthy, which is fine. I obviously would take Rory in that fight just based on reach and obviously his way bigger cardio advantage. And plus, took Woodley down the third round. I was pretty impressed. I don't know if he could take Lombard down. Lombard's just a big load, but Rory, he's deceptively strong and quick. Everything he does is just deceptive, but. I feel like if you fall like a Hendricks or like you said, Robbie Lawler, who he's lost to, I just feel like guys that know how to strike or at least wrestle could probably take him.
Yeah, it's just that he does not know how to really use his combinations very well. Like he thinks like, oh, I'm doing the GSP technique. No, GSP is a good striker. He's not the best striker, but he's a good striker. You're not a good striker. You're still learning how to really strike well. He has vicious elbows. I'll give him that. His elbows are very vicious, but elbows don't really have the same length as your punches. So I don't know. I'm done talking about Aries.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Mighty
Demetrius.
Mouse.
Yeah, let's do a main event quickly, then we'll get into other news. Demetrius Johnson once again dominant. Ali. Look, Ali. He definitely proved that he deserves a title shot. He beat some decent guys, but this is kind of a throwaway fight. Demetrius is just too quick. He's just too well rounded. Nothing really much of a shocker here, right?
Yeah, Demetrius just dominated, and it wasn't like, oh, this is a great domination. This is not like when Anderson Silva would dominate people, and it's not like Demetrius is like known for being Canadian, so all the Canadian fans are going to stay and support him like they did with GSP. It wasn't an entertaining fight. Demetrius just owned this kid. He just literally was all like, "LOL, let me play EA UFC on Xbox on easy difficulty." That's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. He was just this guy was like on easy difficulty, and Demetrius Johnson was on like expert. It was just ridiculous how easy Demetrius Johnson made this look. Like it did not look like he was ever in trouble. It looked like he was fine the whole fight. If it looked like, oh my God, Demetrius, something bad could happen, he'll just slip out of it right away. Like this guy is just really, really good, and his only test right now is John Dodson. It's sad because it's like most of Demetrius Johnson's best fights and more memorable fights happen on like the free shows that you get on TV, UFC on Fox, and all that other stuff. Like anytime he's on pay per view, I think Benavidez is his only good fight on pay per view.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like,
so you think? Yeah. So you think the next will be on Fox, right?
Yes, I don't think he's. No one can take this dude seriously, and it's nothing against him. Like I'm pretty sure he could kick both of our asses, like unless we had steel chairs and shit. But like I'm pretty sure he'll kick my ass. No doubt about it. I'm not denying that. But like, let's just face it. If you're someone watching this fight, it's like for the flyweight title. Okay, how much do these guys weigh? 125 pounds? Bitch, please. I'll slap that little motherfucker around. That's what most people are thinking. Like, the UFC is kind of embarrassed of their flyweight division. Where I remember this was for UFC on Fox. Like the NFL, they were running these commercials. And they did not mention it was for the flyweight championship. They said for the UFC championship. My friend who I talked to about the NFL, he's like, hey, Chase, what UFC championship is being defended on Fox? And I said, the flyweight championship. He's like, the fuck is a flyweight? And it's like 125 pounds. No, I got to watch this fight. These guys are not 125 pounds. And he's like, dude, the cage is bigger than these motherfuckers. Oh my God, this is hilarious. The flyweights are just a joke to casual viewers and just in general. Like they're like the little midgets in professional wrestling. They're a sideshow. They're not to be taken seriously by most fight fans, and it's a shame because there's a lot of good fighters in that division. But it's not like with the bantamweights. At least these guys are like 5'8". Like you'll get the freaks like Dominic Cruz who are 5'8" and 5'6", and at least some of these guys look bigger. But the flyweights, they look so fucking small compared to every other fighter.
Yeah.
Like if
it depends, I think, on being educated.
Yeah.
Obviously, casual fans are gonna, take shots at it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem though, because like it's like the UFC, like us hardcore fans, we respect the flyweights, but it's like the UFC is trying to reach the casual demographic. They still are. They haven't recovered from losing Brock Lesnar. That's the one guy they truly miss in the UFC. I guarantee you they truly miss it.
And GSP.
Yeah, and GSP, and with Silva's decline, really all they have is John Jones. But in all honesty, John Jones right now has been acting like a little CUNT. So
well, I think this fight with Gustafson's going to be huge, just based on how the first one.
Yeah, no,
one can deny that.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be a great fight too. But it's just like I was saying, like a lot of the guys, like the flyweights, it's just hard for casual viewers to take these dudes seriously. Like 100, like people are more afraid of fighting Ronda Rousey than they are of fighting Demetrius Johnson. So it's just that's just not good for business, and it's sad for Demetrius because he's the fighter of the year last year. He won fighter of the year, right? Like last year.
I'm not sure. I think Wyman actually did, but he was my. If I had to pick somebody, it would have been him.
I'm pretty sure he won a couple of Fighter of the Year awards from other magazines and other news media. But it's just like, it shows like, media, just major media in general don't really respect this guy. I mean, because like when it comes down to it, the ESPYs are coming up this year, and we know it's just a sideshow for sports. But like we look at the people who are nominated for Fighter of the Year, it's Ronda Rousey, John Jones, Manny Pacquiao, who hasn't done anything relevant, Floyd Mayweather, and Chris. No, is it Chris Weidman? I believe
Wyman
it's
was
Weidman.
included.
Was he included?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, Weidman. There's no freaking Demetrius Johnson who went undefeated and actually had credible. No offense to Chris Weidman, but we all know Anderson Silva clowning around and Anderson Silva breaking his leg. That's always going to be an asterisk to the Chris Weidman career, and that there's no denying it.
Unless he tears this leg, unless he really goes on a down run, like he destroys Machida,
Yeah,
Vitor, Jacare, all those dudes, Rockhold.
yeah, exactly. Unless he does that. And then like with John Jones, like last year, besides the Gustafsson fight, which was just crazy as hell, what else did he really do? And we all know Ronda. I would agree, yes, Ronda deserves to be there, but guys like the lighter weights, they get no respect. And it's just the bottom line. Like 135, 145, 155 gets some respect, but 125, it just doesn't get respect. And it's not worthy to main event show. Now, you had like a heavyweight title fight as your main event. Okay, that's fine. But that's a problem because our heavyweight champion's what, injured? Is Kane injured again?
He's scheduled. He's recovering. He tore his labrum, I think, last December. That's a serious injury.
Yeah, shoulder injury.
So, but it's scheduled for now. Hopefully, it happens in November in Mexico. He's fighting Verdun.
Oh no, he's gonna make that card. It's a Mexico card.
That's pretty massive right there. Mexicans, Brazilian. It's gonna be pretty insane.
Yeah,
Really
that's gonna be one of their better cards. Yeah, but it's just that, like I said, the flyweights, they are a really they're a fun division for us hardcore fans. Definitely very technical. I like them because they remind me of like the 115s in boxing. But it's just that for the casuals, you can't take these dudes seriously. It's just like because like in boxing, at least with the ring, with the ring that they have in boxing, at least the 115ers look bigger than the ring. When they look like they're smaller in the cage, people just laugh at it. Like I remember my friend the whole time, he was just texting me, "This is hilarious. These guys are so cute fighting in the cage. I want to pet them." Like he was saying all these hilarious, like terrible jokes about them, and I'm like, these guys could probably kick your ass. He's like, I don't give a fuck. They're so cute in that cage. So
yeah, that's why. And getting back into the whole fight, like Uriah Faber is still pretty major, and I thought what he did in 2015, winning 4 fights in a year, all in dominant fashion. That was to me was just so impressive. I know he got knocked out by Corral like a month later, but for what he did in 2013, and he's fine. Like he's a big deal still. Like sure, he's not the big pay-per-view draw, but people love the guy. I don't feel bad for Randy. It's just it's all lighter weight classes. Just man, he should be somewhat of a bigger star. But wait.
yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's get to major UFC news or
So we
major
have the
MMA
whole
news in general.
Vitor Vandalay circle. Where do we even begin? First off, all right, let's get to this. Just on how weird it is. Were you thumbs up or thumbs down on the Fight Pass airing the what was it the Nevada Flag State Commission, just their whole court case? Were you in favor of them recording that and showing it on their programming?
Yes, because that's how you could take Fight Pass a little bit more seriously. And, if we can watch Aaron Hernandez's trial live on the NFL Network or, other trials on the NBA Network and press conferences on there, I'm fine with that. I think that's cool. It gives us a little bit more of how the commission thinks and what they do. So I'm fine with that overall because, like I said, you got to educate more. Like the Fight Pass, you got to help educate people more about MMA. MMA is still a sport being learned by a lot of fans. And so the more you can educate them about the process of MMA, the process of the state commission, it helps out. So I'm fine with it. It's cool by me because, like I said, if we can watch Aaron Hernandez get trial for murder, I'm pretty sure we're fine to watch the commission talk about the use of TRT and all that other crap.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with the airing too. Just don't expect it to garner fans when
Yeah.
not besides media and not even all media. And I don't consider myself fully media, but I've got to write and I've interviewed fighters, but there was no shot I was watching. It's like a 2.5-hour conference. The fighters are on there for a few minutes. Like Vanderlei had one spot. It's just a big all right, get in and get out. Like it's not must see stuff now.
Yeah.
The cool thing about Fight Pass is now they got Invicta on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just super cool. And look, I'm a fan of female fighting. I know some people are iffy about it because you don't get the crazy knockout finishes, but just seeing women fight their asses off, showing effort, and very creative on the ground. There's been some pretty sick submissions. If you ever see something, Pat Barry's girlfriend with a flying armbar. I forgot who she subbed, but Rose Namajunas, Mauro Ranallo went crazy. Oh my god, it's a crazy submission. But there's some good talent. Michelle Waterson, she trains at Greg Jackson. She won by like an armbar on this other girl, Jessica. It's a fun organization.
Yeah, and the owner, I think Shannon. What's her last name again?
Shannon.
Yeah, she does a great job. Like I'll compare this to a terrible professional, and they're not terrible professional wrestling company. ROH, they did what they Invicta used to do, IPPV streams. ROH, if your IPPV stream fell down, you would just be screwed. You didn't get a refund or anything. Shannon Apps would give you the pay-per-view for free. She'd say, fuck it. And this is great partnership on the UFC. It reminds me of when they got the WEC into their little corner because they need more female fighters. They really do. I mean, it's Ronda Rousey, and then it's like Misha Tate, Kat Zingano. It's like, whatever. Ronda Rousey is the clear-cut star, but with this partnership with Invicta, they will get more female fighters. Because let me just tell you, I don't think the Ultimate Fighter experience of putting the women in the house was that much of a success. Because, see, this is the thing about reality TV, and I know being a reality TV show fan, we don't give a fuck about men and women in the house unless these two people are going to fight, argue, and have sex. Any season of The Real World or Big Brother, you know that's all we care about of men and women in the house. Most of these women, anyways, that you put in the house, besides my girl Jessamine Duke, who I'm going to marry one day, are not attractive. They're not attractive. They're not women that were like, oh, this girl's so hot and all that other crap. They're not women trying to, hook up with all these men. We don't care about women like being serious. We don't. We care about women, freaking being dumbasses and all this other crap. That's sad, but that's how America is. To me, this is great because now we don't have to force these women and force women coaches to try to be entertaining on The Ultimate Fighter. We can just rely on Invicta and hope Invicta brings some of the talent that they have to the UFC. Because we want to see these women fight.
Now, the big interesting part about all this, just looking at it, is Cyborg's now going to be on the network fighting. What do you think about that?
That's good because we need Cyborg versus Ronda. That is your money women's fight. Because one thing about Cyborg Santos, say whatever you want about her, she's still fucking interesting. I don't give a crap, man. Like just hearing her name, Cyborg Santos. No one calls her Christine. That's her name, right, Christine?
Yeah, Christine.
Yeah, no one calls her that. Everyone calls her Cyborg. Just imagine a card, Cyborg versus Rousey. Motherfuckers will be lining up to buy that card. If people will buy Rousey versus who was her first fight again? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
Carmouche.
Yeah, Carmouche. If people bought that pay-per-view, they're going to buy, especially if you just show people what Cyborg looks like, they are going to fucking buy Cyborg versus Rousey. You see Cyborg, she's jacked up and everything. You're like, oh my god, who's this glamazon? I gotta go see her fight Ronda Rousey. I mean,
and then you can show her destroying Gina Carano.
Yeah, exactly. Gina Carano right then and there. Bam. You just show that clip of her destroying Carano. You have Joe Rogan hype her up. She destroyed Gina Carano in one round. It was amazing. Go to onit.com. Alpha Brain. It's crazy. Just have Joe Rogan hype her up. Boom. Bam. There.
And money in the bank. Too. I know Dana is obviously bitter about the whole situation with Cyborg and all that. But Dana, when he loves somebody, he'll promote them, and people will eventually buy into it.
Yeah, exactly. Dana is a true promoter. He will hate you. He will love you. That in the promoting business, you're not gonna love everyone. You're not. That's just the bottom line. But you're supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be controversial, and then you're supposed to backtrack. That's why Dana makes a great promoter because he'll bash Tito 1 minute, and then he'll say he'll love Tito. Then he will bash Tito. I won't be surprised if Randy Couture and Dana they're best friends in 2 years again. I won't be surprised if like that whole beef with Randy, it was nothing. It was nothing.
Well, one of the most infamous things was when it was like an interview in 2010 with Hawani. He went on like a rant because I think it was a month after Chael got busted after he lost to Anderson, and like he was talking about Chael, and then he brought up Josh Barnett, and he basically says like, "Oh, Josh Barnett, he doesn't care about fans." I'll never bring him back. And it's just like 2 years later, oh hey, it's Josh Barnett, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Dana is a true promoter, so he will bring Cyborg. He knows Cyborg versus like. Don't think motherfucking Dana White does not know Cyborg versus Ronda. He would literally
He just
pull.
wants her to make waves.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the only thing.
Yeah, no, Dana will literally pull. She's fighting McCann, right? The next one, or she already fought McCann. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get confused on my Ronda fights. He would pull that Alexis Davis bitch out of that card. And if Cyborg said today, I'm at weight, put me to fight Ronda, Dana would be like, sorry, Alexis, you're out of the fucking card. We got a new co-main event, Cyborg versus Ronda Rousey. He will do that in a heartbeat because he knows that is a big fight. He knows that. Dana is not a dumb person. He can say dumb things, but he's not a dumb person. In the back of his head, he knows what are the big money fights. He understands the big picture. He wants people to get into the UFC, buy the UFC, and everything. So he knows what he's doing. And so I'm glad Invicta's on there. I think Invicta has a bunch of really good women on there fighting for their brand. Definitely check. It makes Fight Pass also much more interesting because it's like, you know, it's like say for example, and this will never happen. Say for example, the WWE Network. Let's say Vince wants to spice it up a little bit, and he brings TNA to the WWE Network. Now I know everyone's like, it sounds like a terrible idea,
Yeah,
but but here's the thing. That shows that Vince cares about his competition. That shows that Vince wants us as wrestling fans to kind of be a little bit more interested in this TNA wrestling. So, or maybe bring an indie promotion like
I
an
think
ROH.
relate to it because Vince is in his own bubble.
Yeah,
And just saying in general.
yeah, exactly. And it shows that Dana, he cares what's going on outside of the UFC bubble. It shows that he wants you to say, hey, Fight Pass, this is where you can see all the best fights. This is where you can see true, legit, great MMA action. I'm not saying every MMA organization should try to sign up for Fight Pass or become like a UFC breeding ground or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But it's good to know that Dana is looking outside of the box and looking to make Fight Pass more than just a UFC archive library with Fight Pass events every once in a while. It's good to know that Dana is looking to give us different forms of entertainment in the world of MMA.
Exactly, kind of said better. Now, going back to the whole fiasco with Chael. So now Chael's quote unquote retired. You buying it or not?
Didn't he sign? Isn't he fighting soon again?
Well, he's doing Metamoris. That's jiu-jitsu grappling. I don't really consider that fighting. I consider it more as a match. So, MMA I'm talking about. Does he make a comeback? Do you see him ever
Oh yeah,
fighting?
he's gonna make a fucking comeback. Are you kidding me? This is Chael fucking Sonnen, dude. This guy always finds he is like the best hype man ever for the UFC. Like the UFC is blessed they got Chael Sonnen, man, because I remember when he said when Dana after the Abu Dhabi, he was like Anderson Silva's gonna fight a tough son of a bitch and Chael Sonnen. And everyone was laughing. Everyone's like Chael Sonnen, really?
Yeah.
And then Chael Sonnen was running his mouth like the absurd things like, oh, I could get a black belt from the Nogueras at Happy Meal toy. Like I fight for gold medals, not silver medals, and he hyped himself up really, really well, and he had a great fight with Anderson Silva the first time. And this motherfucker will find a way to get back in the UFC. I will not be surprised if in 2015, late 2015, Chael Sonnen's fighting at the UFC again. I would not be surprised if we see a Chael Sonnen comeback tour in late 2015, early 2016.
The one thing that you have to take into account, though, is that Chael, I know he's notorious for stepping in late notice. He's not going to be able to do that because, he is taking, I assume, illegal substances, whether it's TRT or whatever he got busted for. He is going to be taking that. So for him to basically fight, you need to clear that out of the system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I said late 2015, early 2016 is when we will probably see the return of Sonnen, because I'm pretty sure from my time of, and I've never done TRT people, but I've done like a bunch of supplements and stuff like that. That's why, and that's the one thing UFC needs to really, like what the NBA and the NFL does, give these guys a motherfucking list of things you can take and not what you can't take, because the drug testing in NFL and NBA is totally different than it is in boxing and MMA because of the state commissions and all that other crap that you have to do. And so, I know like creatine and a bunch of other stuff doesn't get out of your system unless it's like you don't take it for like 6 months. So,
Yeah.
in all honesty, like that's why I say late 2015, early 2016, the Sauna Express will be back.
Here's one argument though. Wait, and look, I don't want to have like a TRT talk because I just hate in general talking about drugs and MMA. It bores me, and just I know
Yeah.
it's part of the you know the matchups and the complexion of everything. But just one quick thing: Dan Henderson, he was on it in March when he fought Shogun. Then he fights in May, not on it. I guess it just matters of who you are as a person. But very interesting. Henderson only took like 6 weeks off, and he was able to be cleared and ready to fight.
Yeah, well, TRT is different. TRT is like testosterone. Like it's replacing testosterone. When you're taking systems like protein powders and creatine and all that stuff, that stays in your system for a long time because you're taking that on a daily basis. TRT you take like probably once a month and then it
Yeah.
goes away because it's supposed to just replace, your pheromones. That's all it is. Your testosterone pheromones. So that way you can get more pumped up and be more active at an older age. Like I think Chael wasn't taking TRT. I think he was just taking probably some supplement that he did
Yeah,
not
he's
even
taking
know.
some weird supplements. I don't know if
It's probably like the same supplement that like Cody Rhodes and the WWE took, like that Brazilian supplement that no one knew was like. I'm pretty sure he took a Brazilian supplement while he was filming in the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. I
yeah,
mean,
probably.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that was the case. Yeah, because when it comes down to TRT, that can get out of your system quick because it's just like because once you burn out the testosterone from the TRT the TRT shot that you take, it's gone. But when you take supplements, that stays in your system for a long, long time.
Now my last question. This now goes to Vitor. So what happens to Vitor? You think Vitor is gonna just wait for the title shot? He's gonna fight a
I
contender.
say this: you have Vitor Belfort run in with a steel chair and hit both Weidman and Machida, and then hold the belt at the end of the show. Now with Vitor, don't wait for a title shot. Try to find a way to get him on a card, any card.
Yeah, I know they're going to Brazil in October, but I feel like October's too late. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I assume Wyman's going to defend the title late in the year again. He's not going to defend the title only once. And I assume they want to try to get Vitor to be the next fight because that would kind of be a marquee fight. But
Yeah, because with Vitor, you with Vitor right now, Vitor is still one of the hottest things in MMA, and you need to show people he's still a dominant force without the TRT. Casual fans don't give a shit because they just like seeing Vitor spin head kicks and go crazy because that's what Vitor Belfort is. He's just a fun fighter to watch overall. You need to get him on a card soon. Like I think September maybe open up for Vitor to maybe fight on there. I hope. I would try to get him on a card where he is a co-main, not like just like a regular.
don't put him in a Brazil card. Don't do
Yeah,
that. That's all.
put him in the co-main where there's another big time fight, and
Like Gustafsson issue, like
exactly, exactly. Put him in the co-main. Show people Vitor's back, and if Vitor loses to whoever he loses to, whoever they put him against, hey, that's just how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, I think Vitor needs to fight again. We cannot let Vitor keep on waiting and waiting and dictating when he wants to fight for the title. I understand he's a respected name in the UFC brand, but I don't want another situation where he was all like, "Oh yeah, I wait until I fight Anderson Silva," and then he gets his ass kicked in like 2 seconds.
I got a feeling. I agree with you, but I got a feeling he's gonna wait for some reason. But then again, it's not smart because I think his last fight was against Henderson, and that was I think in November. Is he really gonna take a year off and then go into a title shot? So I agree with you. They should make him fight, but I feel like Vitor.
Yeah, no, I totally agree what you're saying that Vitor will wait, but I think the UFC should really step down on him and be like, no, we did this waiting game with you with Anderson because that's what they did. They played Vitor's waiting game when he was supposed to fight Silva, and stuff like that, and he kept getting injured, so Silva would have to fight random idiot number one and random idiot number two and all that other crap before the Chael incident happened and that whole thing. So that's the thing with Vitor because Vitor, no offense to the guy, he's not the most safest guy in the world. Like this guy likes to get injured every once in a while.
Of course not.
Yeah. So.
And then he fails the drug test, and then that ends.
Yeah, and then who knows? Like all of a sudden, because like right now we all know Vitor's clean, but who knows? Like creeping around October time or creeping around September time, Vitor's like, oh, gotta take another test, and like, I gotta get another shot, and then all of a sudden, random drug test. Oh, Vitor's out of the December fight. Who's gonna fight Weidman? Oh, I back number 3. UFC, leave no doubt.
Yeah.
Leave no doubt 2. Anderson Silva Wyman 3.
Vitor is very unpredictable. You never know what you're gonna get, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just hope. I agree. Definitely, they got to put him on card, and it has to be in America. You got to convince the people. At the end of the day, there's a lot of
Yes.
people that are very anti-Vitor right now, based on what has.
I don't know why. I mean, the dude lost his sister 3 years ago. You guys should support him.
It's good shit. It's went very dark, man.
I'm just saying, you should support Vitor Belfort. The guy's a good man.
Yeah, he's a good man, but people they take their failing drug test seriously, unless the guy's name is Chael Sonnen or Josh Barnett. Then it's
Yeah,
okay.
that's okay. If Chael Sonnen failed the drug test, we got to defend that motherfucker.
Because the promo, not a problem. Josh Barnett, War Master, go cut a promo.
Vitor, a big problem. Same with Vitor though. He's always been big. It's not like
Yeah, he's always a mess. Very good point.
yeah,
But
he's always been a big guy.
that's one other big update. We're not gonna get much into Bellator, but we have to cover this because it was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I was surprised by this one.
Bjorn Rebney out, Scott Coker in. It's funny. I was generally surprised, but a lot of people are saying, that are hearing about Bellator and are inside around the area saying they just Spike and him didn't get along. They were tired of the tournament system. They were tired of Bjorn's just antics, not antics, but just his overall mindset. Like I heard one story that they just wanted to make King Mulvers Jackson, and Bjorn was like, no, they have to go through the tournament. And that was like one of the things that was like the final straw. They were sick of him.
And that makes sense because if you're Spike TV, you want to make sure the best fights are happening when you can make them happen. Yeah, build them up and whatever. It's Rampage versus King Mo. It's 2 casual viewer names that, especially Rampage. Why the fuck do these motherfuckers need to fight loser number 1 and loser number 2 before they fight? Just have these motherfuckers fight. It doesn't need to be for a belt. And I'm glad Scott Coker is involved with this because Scott Coker, he did a fine good job running Strikeforce. He has good relations with the fighters. I don't think Dana hates Scott Coker whatsoever. I think Dana actually kind of likes Scott Coker. I don't know. You could probably tell me that, but I never heard Dana ever really openly bash Scott Coker whatsoever. But Bjorn, he was just too old school. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just too old school. Like this ain't Japan. Okay, we don't give a shit about tournaments in America. Tournaments are not cool in America. Every Japanese TV show, they do tournaments. Why? Because Japanese people like tournaments. Americans, we find them boring. Tournaments are not interesting for me to watch a fight. If anything, it ruins some of your best fights because it's like, oh, this guy didn't win the tournament, so we're not going to see this great fight anymore because that one guy was a bad matchup for him. Like, you have to give out the best fights, especially if you're Bellator, a growing product in the MMA community. You have to give out the best fights when you can. And Bjorn was just terrible. He was just terrible. And I'm glad Scott Coker's involved. I mean, if we get some, all we're missing is Frank Shamrock on commentary with his bracelets, man. And all will be right in the world. All will be right. If I hear Murillo and fucking Frank Shamrock, and maybe try to get Gus Johnson. Huh?
At Miltich, don't you dare say Gus Johnson.
But Gus Johnson's funny when he went up to Hendo's like, can I call it the H bomb? And then Henderson's like, sure.
Dude, the only thing that ruined Verdum subbing Fedor, like that was one of the greatest moments ever. But hearing just Gus Johnson scream, oh my god, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu prevails. Like he's just like, dude, this is not this, like he's just trying to make it into like a college football game or whatever.
At the 10, at the 30, at the 20, he's got getting away from the cop speed. Touchdown.
Like now he does soccer, just like us. Can you just leave like my subculture sports alone? Like, look, you can stay in football, college basketball, whatever you do. Just leave. You left MMA. That's good. Now just leave. Not to get on soccer today, but I'm just saying, Gus Johnson stinks. Anyway, back on the regular topic of Scott Coker. And another thing about Bjorn, I just heard like managers didn't like him. Obviously, the whole Eddie Alvarez thing didn't help him, although that was a few years ago. But another thing I noticed with him is he's not a very good promoter. Like,
oh, he's terrible.
I was listening to an interview, him and Lou Thomas, one of my favorite writers, and Lou Thomas right away asked him, "Do you think this is the biggest Bellator event of all time, their pay-per-view?" And you know what he says? He goes, I don't know. There's big names, but ask me Saturday night. Dude, you're trying to sell
pull the No, you gotta
Dude,
pull the Dana White bullshit. Do you think Demetrius Johnson versus Bogmatov is going to be the best pay-per-view in UFC history? Absolutely. We have a great fight. Flyweight championship, Demetrius Johnson, kid's been on a tear, taking on a big test, and Bogmatov. This could be a great fight. You got Rory McDonald taking on Tyron Woodley. Winner could get a title shot, and you got Ryan Bader taking on Fei Zhao in a big light heavyweight battle. This is going to be the greatest event of all time. What? Oh, we have big names. Ask me Saturday night. The fuck is that kind of answer?
and Dana would make sure to say former UFC champion Andre
Yeah, I
Arlovski.
got a former UFC Andre. Yeah, you would say former UFC heavyweight champ. I messed up on that Dana, but I got almost everything right of what Dana
Yeah,
would say. But
but yeah,
it's
you're at the end of the day, man. When Bellator's first pay per view apparently did very well. Good for them. Whatever. I'm just saying, like Bjorn, he. I'm not asking him to be Dana White, be this over anime guy, dropping f bombs every 30 seconds, but at least be excited. Like, yeah, you want to give a straight answer, it's fine, but you're trying to sell things here, and it's just mind-boggling when he did. And
yeah,
then
dude.
it's just
Seriously.
too many fights. Like at least people are talking about UFC oversaturation. Look, that's a fair statement, but at least they have a roster to do so.
Yeah.
Look, what belt they want to do 13 straight weeks or some shit, Bellator? It's like, dude, do you look at your roster? Like, you can't do 13 weeks in a row.
You guys are not professional wrestling, okay? You guys are MMA. That it's good when you guys do it in spurts, not every fucking. Uh,
Do you know what the last main event was after that show? The last main event was James Thompson.
who?
Remember the guy who knocked out Kimbo Slice?
Oh God, and who else?
And this guy Eric Prindle won their heavyweight tour. No one knows who the hell is. And then the co-main event, Sokashu was in there. It's like, who's gonna watch this?
No one, man. I was when you said James Thompson, I'm like, I'm already not watching this. That's like watching like the Sacramento Kings taking on the Utah Jazz.
Exactly, that's a good comparison. Right? It just at the end of the day, man, less shows are better. Thankfully, Spike and Scott Coker, he basically said that he wants to do less shows to make more cards exciting. That's what made Strikeforce so good. So
Yeah, that's what made Strikeforce one of the. I always loved like Saturday nights, like yeah, like oh Showtime showing the Strikeforce event. I'm watching that shit, and then I would just be so excited because that it would just flow smoothly. There was no like pyrotechnics. Like yeah, sure you would get the usual over dramatic entrances, but you know what? I love Strikeforce. Strikeforce was the shit. I don't care what anyone says. Maybe more California bias towards me because I love Strikeforce in California. But man, fuck yeah, Strikeforce for the win, and
uh,
Scott Coker for the win. Damn it, I like Scott Coker. Like I said, I think he'll do well with Bellator, and I think that he could help Bellator out a lot with its promotion. That's one thing he did good for Strikeforce because Strikeforce was on Showtime. Showtime is not known for hard gripping MMA action. It was more of a boxing network, but he got Showtime over, man. Like he made people want to buy, Showtime. Like he made fights that were like, what Overeem's fighting this dude? I gotta go check that out. So
yes, Paul Daly. Oh shit,
yeah,
Misha sent
exactly.
it down. Ronda Misha that sent it down. Obviously Fedor. It's just one thing that's gonna be interesting is, I wrote about this is how is he gonna handle roster because we know Bellator has a lot lesser, well-known talent compared to Strikers, and he doesn't.
Hey
I doubt
man,
he's gonna have like
he,
an affliction or a lead XC to go get some talent because people forget, man, where did he get Josh Burnett from? He got him from affliction. Where did he get the likes of Robbie Lawler and Bigfoot Silva, Elite XC? It'll be interesting how he develops the current roster.
hey, don't forget Scott Coker. Scott Coker also made KJ Noons relevant in Strikeforce. He made Tim Kennedy relevant in Strikeforce. He made Jake Shields relevant in Strikeforce. He revived
Yeah,
Robbie Lawler's career. Scott Coker, he knows how to promote and make good fights. Like he knows how to make like shitty fighters that you've never heard of actually legit competitors.
by the way, I think this all concludes. I think now with him coming back, I'm not sure how the relation is, but now I'm even more confident that May and Miller is definitely going to come back
Yeah.
because of the Coke relationship and he's been training Rampage. So it'll be interesting because one of the big things they have to do is try to, you know, boost Shlemenko stock back up. So it'll be interesting what they do with him. But just in general, though, looking back at Straight Force, I think the one issue people always had was obviously at the heavyweight Grand Prix tour was an absolute mess. But that after that, I think Coker's learned his lesson. Like, all right, we're not going to mess with this. And then I guess that at the end of Strike Force, there's just many lopsided matchups, which didn't help. But
Yeah,
That's just the UFC merger and shit.
yeah, and also like I said, like eventually, will Dana White be like, LOL, me and Scott? Like I don't know how their relationship is. I don't know if he likes Scott Coker that much, but I'm pretty sure like when push comes to shove, uh, Scott Coker will be more than happy to take more money away from Dana White and let him buy Bellator for certain talents that they have.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. But I don't know when their next event is. I'm just looking forward to how they end the year because Eddie Alvarez is going to fight soon. Just what they're going to do with that in general. Those are the big questions. You got to see what they're going to do with Eddie, who's going to fight next. You got to see what you're going to do about this whole King Wall Rampage issue, and
I think
it'll be going to be some tough decisions
I
that
think
we.
Scott Coker is gonna give us an all-out Bellator card. Like to start off, he's gonna like make sure that we have Alvarez versus the black guy. Who we Chandler again?
Will Brooks. Will
Yeah, Will
Brooks.
Brooks, the black guy. Rampage versus King Mo being the co-main, and he'll make sure he will give us a stack card that will just be like whoa, and he will have like and the thing about Scott Coker, he finds random motherfuckers. Like I said, KJ Noons and Tim Kennedy. Those guys were random. As Luke Rockhold, that's another random name. He finds these random motherfuckers, and he does a great job promoting them, making them into like somewhat viable names. Like I remember when people were like, "Oh, KJ Noons could be UFC lightweight champion." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" But that's the power of Scott Coker. He knows how to do that. He knows how to take crap and make that crap look like they're diamonds. And even though they probably wouldn't last well in the UFC or be great UFC fighters, he knows how to present them as like as good as the UFC fighters.
Exactly. That's what you got to do to be a successful promotion, and I'm just looking for how they do the shows, the format in itself, in terms of Bellator, but.
Yeah.
Guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm trying to think. What else can we transition to? I guess we'll talk about the upcoming. We'll talk a little bit about this weekend's fights, and then we'll talk a little bit about July itself. But so this week we got a doubleheader. Although I don't know how this is gonna work because the New Zealand events at 5 a.m. East Coast time. That's 2 a.m. your time. So if you had a fun night and you want to stay up a little bit, you can go watch this card. This
Oh no, I don't feel like watching Tahuna versus Nate the Great.
it sucks, man. Because I do think, like, I know UFC wants to go different markets, and they were kind of handicapped here. But man, if you're going to New Zealand, you gotta get Mark Hunt. That's the draw.
Yeah,
You're gonna use Mark Hunt Japan, which is very smart. But you could have got some other old pride guy for Japan. Who knows? But whatever. It's just man, to put a main event with two guys that are coming off, I think
like
two fight losing streaks, both of them. I think I'm
I
trying to
like
remember.
in all honesty, like this fight card right here, that could be the prelims for like the actual undercard that's happening the same day.
Yeah, like I like what's his name? I like Hatsuoyoki versus Charles Oliveira. I think that's a decent fight. Oliveira has shown potential, but he's so skinny, man. Like he goes against these big guys, he just gets ragdolled. But he's so good off his back, and that's I guess the thrill of it. I guess him and Aoki's fine. Heavyweights, I don't know, so play like they put him against guys that don't really matter. Jared Roshold, good wrestler, but hasn't really shown much. I'm waiting. So he's got like a 3-fight winning streak, and like they're still giving him nobody. So I don't know what the hell they're doing Solo Hulk. But he is from New Zealand. He is a draw or whatever. So I guess that's nice.
Yeah, and like Tahuna Marquardt, I just don't care, man. Like James Tahuna is boring. Nate the Great is no longer Nate the Great anymore. I just call him that for comical purposes. But like Swanson versus Stevens, that's a card I want to see. Like I'm watching that for sure on Saturday. I'm not
Yeah,
what.
that's the late one. It's just are you before we move on to do you find any like are you captivated that Tahuna's dropping to 185 or Marquardt's going back up to 185? Is that bringing any little interest in you or not at all?
Maybe Tahuna going to 185 because he was just too outmatched by light heavyweights, and he might have the speed to shock some people. I don't see this guy like unless he just goes on this like amazing tear that we never expected from him. I think that his speed, like with the speed that he'll have at 180, if he's moving at the same pace he did at 205, he's screwed because that's not good.
Yeah.
But if he's a little bit more faster, because I feel this guy could be a little bit more faster and a little bit more stronger. Marquardt's done, man. Like this guy at 185, this guy is not good at. He was terrible at 170. How am I going to expect that he's going to move up a weight class and do better? Like it's kind of
Yeah.
like with Diego Sanchez. Like why are you moving back up? It ain't going to help your career. It's not going to help Marquardt's career. It's not Marquardt's past his prime. It's just that he's past his prime. I feel Tahuna like I said, if he comes out and he looks a lot more faster than he does against the 205s, then I'll be impressed by him. And he has a lot of room to improve and be a good fighter. I don't expect him to go on a tear, but it would be interesting if he did go on a tear. But yeah, I think this benefits more Tahuna than it does Nate, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I like Tahuna in this fight if we're picking it, obviously, and it does benefit. It's just, man, and you look at Nate, like his last two fights, like, Ellenberger caught him, and then Hector Lombard just chased him down. Just, man,
No, that was vicious as
knocked out
fuck.
170 guys. It's like, what's kind of, and look, Tahuna, like, he's not a good wrestler. He's kind of one dimensional, but this guy could crack. And
That's what I'm saying too. Like that's the thing with Tahuna. Like I said, if he comes out and like he's as slow as he was when he was fighting Glover, oh, this motherfucker's screwed as fuck. Like there's no way he's gonna survive in the 185 division long. But if he comes out and he looks much more lighter on the feet, he looks faster. His combinations are coming in crisper. Oh, this guy could actually be some potential in the 185 class. So that's one thing for Tahuna. Like Marquardt, like you said, he was getting knocked. That God, I remember that Lombard, dude. That shit was hilarious.
dude, he literally was chasing him.
Yeah, he was running away, and Lombard caught him.
I was like, look, man, if I fought Hector Lombard, I'd be running too. But just like, hey, come on, you're supposed to be this big 170 guy.
How did this guy beat Tyron Woodley, man? Well, Woodley was raw back then.
Gassed.
Yeah, that's true. I always loved Tyron Woodley's mom during that fight. Stop hitting my baby!
I remember that.
She was so loud.
Fight night. I'll definitely check this.
Oh, this was a good card. This is actually a nice little fight night. Crack open a beer.
Not bad. It's a little, for I'm not gonna complain about fight night. It's not, the names itself aren't great. Like Abel Trujillo was supposed to fight Miles Jury. I'm very let down that fight didn't happen because I think Miles got hurt. That would have been a super cool fight, but. Hey, what are you gonna do? You got a decent, compelling main event.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good mixture of fights. I mean, you have exciting Cub Swanson taking on Jeremy Stevens, Kevin Gastelum, who's just been on a tear ever since surprisingly winning the Ultimate Fighter against Uriah Hall. And let's face it, that was a surprise. Like I think everyone and their mothers were like, Uriah Hall is going to win this fight by like just staring at Kevin Gastelum. So, this guy's just been on a fucking tear. I like Ricardo Lamas and taking on Harson Deos. That's an interesting fight to me. Jake Ellenberger is he a little brother or older brother?
I think younger brother.
Younger brother's fighting on this card. I mean, this card, like I said, it's a good card. Open up a beer, grab some friends that are probably coming home from the army this weekend. Take them to a bar, watch some UFC, and if you want to leave during it, go leave during it. Just make sure you have it on DVR to watch that main event.
Yeah, main event's definitely going to be action-packed. Both Cub Swanson and Stevens always bring, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. So interesting if Stevens is going to look to take Swanson down because I think Swanson's going to be too fast for him in terms of striking, but it'll be interesting because Jeremy Stevens just looks massive at 145.
Mm-hmm. He's huge, dude.
So, he's got a decent chance. I still like Swanson in this fight because he's more explosive and more well-rounded, but definitely exciting main event. You're talking about Gastelum. I actually thought he lost to Rick Story his last fight. I wasn't too impressed with him, but he's a good prospect. He's only, dude, I think he's my age. Was he 21 years old or 22? Like,
he's 22 years old. He's 2 years older than me.
Yeah, there you go. And he's fighting Nicolas Mosov, who not very well known. He does train with Gustafsson, so I guess they're gonna market that. Like, when they what's it called? When Joe Ellenberger's playing, all they're gonna do is talk about Jake.
Yeah.
Jake this, Jake that. Like, remember when Glover fought John Jones? Mike Goldberg was showing the hell up about Chuck Liddell.
He trains with Chuck Liddell, the Iceman, one of the greatest UFC light heavyweight champions of all time.
Exactly.
He trains with Liddell. Joe, did I mention that he trains with Chuck Liddell on a weekly basis? Joe, Chuck Liddell absolutely loves this kid. Glover's getting his ass kicked, Mike. Stop talking about him. And you can see Liddell right now, not very happy with his student, Glover Teixeira. It's like, shut up, Mike. Piece of crap. I'm sorry. Let me just get on this real quick. Mike Goldberg and Joe Rogan, man. I feel like they've slipped up a little bit over the years, man. Like, it's like, god dang, man. Joe Rogan just nut hugs every new fighter and every favorite fighter now. And Mike Goldberg, it's like he doesn't even talk about the moves anymore. It's just like he's like promoting like everything. Make sure you watch The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. coming to theaters near you. It's like during the main event fight. Like, that pisses me off. When Mike Goldberg has to go promote fucking Subway and all these goddamn other places during the main event fight. No, your motherfucking should be paying attention to these main event fighters. Don't be promoting Divergent on DVD and all that. It just pisses me off, man. Just pisses me off.
Like, people like to tune out Goldberg now, which is completely understandable, might I add. But
like, I can't stand Rogan when he's like, when a new fighter's coming to the UFC. This guy right here is legit. He will knock you the frick out. I really think right now, Hector Lombard is just tired. You know, it happens sometimes, and the Lombard fight's the biggest example. If you watch that Lombard fight again, he was protecting Lombard's ass the whole time and just nut hugging off of him. I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Just say that Tim Bosch is kicking his ass.
Give him props, though. He did call out Tyron Woodley and did get correct. You know, he was saying how Woodley gets tired or whatever.
Yeah, no, like, Joe Rogan knows what he's talking about. I'm talking about when a newer fighter comes to the UFC, like when UFC has this big debut, he treats this guy like he's like the next godly thing of all time, and he makes excuses for them if they lose. That's what I hate. Like, Mike Goldberg, he's just an idiot now. Like, I can't stand his promoting ass, man. He's like Michael Cole, man. Go download the WWE app. Like, I'm surprised Mike Goldberg has not said during the main event, make sure you guys get UFC Fight Pass. Like, I'm surprised. I'm surprised he has not been saying that like every fight. And while you guys are watching this exciting fight, go see what's behind the locker room at UFC Fight Pass UFC 172 Extra. Like, oh god, that would be terrible.
You just gave me the worst news show. This against Cesar Muchanchi, who trains at Vitor. He's fighting on it against Andrew Craig. I guess it's an okay fight. And yeah, Ricardo Lamas, very cool guy. One of the fighters I've actually had the opportunity to interview. Super down to earth. So I always have a special thing for Ricardo Lamas. Any guy I talk to, I always remember. And it's just weird though. He's coming off a title fight, and he's on this card, and it's not really a big deal. It's just like, I just fought Jose Aldo, but whatever. He's not much of a talker, so it's like, what are you gonna do? He's never gonna be like really highlighted.
Yeah, and that Jose Aldo fight, like, he was pretty mismatched minus like what, one round, I would say, maybe. Like, I can't remember. Like, second round, didn't he do good?
Fifth round, I think. He won
the third round, yeah, second or third round. I remember he looked pretty damn good in that round. Like, he's not a bad fighter, Ricardo Lamas. Like I said, I like him. Like, he's never going to. He could be a guy that actually could break out and, you know, become a featherweight champion. But, you know, like I said, that's an interesting fight right there. Like, this card is filled with interesting fights. It just depends on how, you know, the fighters come out and fight. The fighters make the fights, and if the fighters come out boring, the fans are gonna boo and tell them that they're boring.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally. So I guess we got like another 10 more minutes. We'll just talk about random. You know, let's talk about the fights in July coming up. We're gonna save 175 next week.
Yes, so. we're not talking about the Chris versus the Machida, the Dragon.
We're just gonna go through some random cards.
Actually, one thing I want to point out is at my movie theater, Movie Co, Alan, here in California, you should have booked your California date for another time, because at Movie Co they have this cool deal where you can watch UFC 175, 176, and 177 all for one low price of $30 in a movie theater. That's pretty awesome, if you ask me. That's
a really sweet deal, man.
Yeah, I actually bought my tickets for it, so I'm going to go to the movie theaters and communicate with other MMA fans, and, you know, watch UFC 175, 176, and 177 in the movie theater, because, like, shit, man, it's like $15 to get in normally, and so I'm like, okay, why not just buy the 3-fight package? And I don't know what 177's card going to be. I'm hoping it's Gustafsson versus Jones.
I think it is, but I can't confirm.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But yeah, you know, on a fucking huge movie theater, and they serve you drinks and all that other stuff. We don't have to worry about little kids running around the place. You know, hell, I'm down for that. $30 to watch 3 big pay-per-views for the UFC. Fuck yeah.
Exactly. So, before we get into it, I'm gonna sing a picture right now. This is not really. We try to do like a breaking news bit. This is our breaking news for week. It's a hilarious picture.
I'll probably put it in the video.
Dana White's Instagram. Just click on the link I just sent you. What a happy guy.
Hello, Mark Hunt in the seat right next to me.
Dude, just look at that. Just look at that freaking plane right there. You got freaking flowers, daisies. Like Mark Hunt has his own like couch. Just living a life, man. I wonder what Dana says. He was like, Mark, man, that fight, man, crazy shit. Roy Nelson, that fight's gonna be even crazier. Just make sure you don't gas out second round or whatever.
Oh, those two are just gonna bang. Actually, I want to talk about the John Jones thing for a little bit. Do you understand? Like, I don't understand John Jones's point why he should fight Cormier again. Like that. That's just me. I don't like. I understand to the point where he wants to face someone new, but it's not like Gustafsson was a decisive win for him. So I can and Gustafsson did beat someone to earn the shot for the title. Like, do you agree Jones's point that he should have fought Cormier next, or do you feel like Gustafsson's the right opponent? I feel Gustafsson is the right opponent, and right now it's the big money match for the UFC. It's their big money rematch right now, unless GSP all of a sudden comes out of retirement and faces Hendricks again. But that's the big money match. So do you agree, Jones? Jones? Do you understand Jones's point why he should have fought Cormier, or are you just fine that he's fighting Gustafsson again?
Well, dude, people were clamoring for this rematch. I
Mm-hmm.
think like the day after, like people did not want to see Glover versus Jones.
Yeah.
They've been clamoring
The
for it.
Glover and Jones, I understood because
Yeah,
Glover was a huge like he was on a fucking tear, and John Jones wanted to face a new competitor. That's cool with me. But like it like when Gustafsson does win another fight, and it was against a talented prospect in his hometown, and he's calling for the fight, and you know that people want to see you guys fight because they voted him for the UFC cover of the video game. I gotta say, man, like take that fight. I want to see DC versus Jones as the next guy because first of all, it's two black people going to be arguing on the microphone. That's hilarious already,
it's gonna
and
be black on black crime.
yeah, black on black crime exactly. And also, it's going to be like two UFC light heavyweights. Light heavyweights are always cool to watch, but seriously, like I feel Jones and Gustafsson is the right match. I don't understand why Jones versus Cormier is the right match in John Jones's mind.
Exactly, dude. I just think at the end of the day, Jones he just likes to mess with fans, and he wants to make his money. And I don't know, he's such. I call him not just pound for pound best fighter. I call him the pound for pound enigma. Like
Mm.
you know, you don't know what to expect from this guy. One minute it's this way, then he has another motive, and he wants a new contract. It's just you never know. But at the end of the day, the Gustafsson fight, people have been clamoring for. Gustafsson did win. Granted, it was a lopsided fight, but with lightweight division has zero depth. What you
Yeah.
can do, and plus people forget Cormier is I think serious injury. I think maybe he torn his meniscus, so he's gonna be out for the rest of the year. So
Oh,
I think
so
they get that fight regardless. Jones. Well, look, if Gustafsson wins, who knows? But I think eventually we'll see Jones Cormier before they retire. Let's put it that way.
yeah, no, that's exactly the point. It's like Jones versus Gustafsson is like the fight you want to see again because that first fight was just fucking like no one expected Gustafsson to survive that long. Me and Alan came on here and we said, oh yeah, Jones is gonna take him down and him with the elbows be over in round one. And all of a sudden it went
Dude, we were
five
more
rounds.
excited about freaking Matt Schwab, Matt Mitrione versus Brandon Schaub.
Yeah, we were
That's what
talking about
happened.
that fight more in that previous podcast. Go listen to that old one. Where it's like
And against Khabib that we were excited about.
yeah. We totally fucking did not give a shit about the main event. We were throwing that shit on the bus. We were saying another easy win for Jones. Give us Jones versus I think Anderson was still like hot. Was Anderson still champion?
Anderson just lost.
Oh yeah, Anderson lost
We were talking about
to
Jones. I think we were talking about Jones. I don't know if we were talking about. I think maybe we were just Jones Cormier.
yeah. I think we were saying like give Jones Cormier, man. We don't give a fuck about Gustafsson, but Gustafsson proved us wrong, man. That he put on one of the best light heavyweight title fights ever, man. So it's like, come on, like I want to see that again, just because it's like that was that was the first time you've ever seen John Jones minus that 2 minutes in the Machida fight where you've seen John Jones be vulnerable, you know?
Oh yeah, dude, he got taken down. Gustafsson was hitting his jab.
Yeah, and one thing about John Jones, a lot of people are like, I don't know why, but I don't know if it's just me, but Jones has seemed like his wrestling is not as good as it used to be. Because like his last two fights against Glover and Gustafsson, he has not been able to hit his takedown so easily, you know?
Those are solid guys, though. When you look at it, those are big guys.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not like Vitor or Chael, these undersized guys. These are big dudes now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's true. I just feel like
Rampage too, if you remember.
uh
He's a light heavyweight. So you never know. Jones, I think, just has to pick his moments better. He tends to go in without setting up his strikes. That's what made GSP so effective. He would just jab, jab, jab. He make you think this is a kickboxer match. Oh, next thing you know, you're on your back.
Yeah, then later on he'll lay and pray on you, and then the fans in Canada will be like GSP, GSP, GSP.
Nick Diaz would be like, "What the hell am I doing with my life?" But
And then Nick Diaz would try to punch him after the end of the round, and then afterwards be like, "Man, I felt like I was sick, homie. Like, dude, I don't even know if I want to fight anymore, or whatever. You're not a real fighter, George. Like, I think I can beat you. I think that's still one of the best press conferences of all time.
which one?
The one where Nick Diaz shows up at the end where of the UFC where he lost to George, and then later on he looks at Hendricks and George and they're sitting next to each other. He's like, I don't know why you guys are sitting next to each other. I mean, like, you guys are gonna fucking fight. Like, what? That's either one of the best press conferences. Or next to when St. Pierre lost to Hendricks, Dana says, "Oh yeah, George is not going to be here," and George comes with his face all fucked up. I'm here. I'm here to cock it. That's why I love MMA. MMA has some of the best press conferences. You will anyone that wants to know what I get more excited about in MMA, I get excited for main event fights because I get to hear Bruce Buffer say it's time and Mike Goldberg promote Divergent on DVD. But I also get so excited for the post fight press conferences because that shit. You do not know what is going to happen. Crazy shit happens all the time during those post fight press conferences.
Okay, we got a few minutes. So let's just run down some fights. You don't have to do predictions. We'll just talk about a little bit. So this is July 16th. There's a fight night. We got Cowboy Cerrone, Jim Miller.
Great fight.
Super fun fight. It's on a Wednesday too, so it's like, dude, main event on a Wednesday. That's gonna be super fun.
Yes, great fight, and is it the Wednesday after all the July Madness, or is it like 2 weeks from now Wednesday?
No,
like
2 weeks from that one. So they give you a nice week break, and then you're back at it.
Yeah,
so
that's a great fight right there.
Yeah, it's a fun fight. Also on that card, Edson Barbosa against, I know the guy you love, Evan Dunham.
Yes, that should be a fun fight. I think that will be an interesting fight. It'll be more of an interesting fight than it will be. It will be very technical, not super exciting. But we know Edson Barbosa will try to go for spin shit, and Evan Dunham will hit his haymaker. So it should be a fun fight. I think it'll be very technical. Not as fun as Donald Cerrone and Jim Miller just being rednecks trying to kill each other.
And the other intriguing, it's just another lightweight fight. They really stacked the deck with this for lightweights. This is just intriguing. I'm not gonna say it's very exciting because these guys are known to be grinders, but these are I think these might be the most massive lightweights. You got Gleason Tebow, whoever knows is huge, and he's fighting Pat Healy. I just
wow, Gleason Tebow is still in the UFC. That amazes me.
What?
Gleason Tebow, he's still with the UFC.
Yeah.
God damn, dude, this mother like.
Dudes.
He's like the God. What's a professional? He's like Scotty Too Hottie, man. Like it's like God, Gleason Tebow. It's like when you see like Scotty Too Hottie come out, it's like, oh, what the fuck? Like in the Attitude Era, you would just be like, he's still around. Like God damn, Gleason Tebow, good for him. I remember watching him back when I was a little kid, and he was supposed to be like the next big thing. Him and Tyson Griffin.
Oh jeez.
Tyson Griffin reference, yes.
And next one, this one's from the Return to Ireland, which means it's Conor McGregor time. He's fighting. Not Cole Miller. Cole Miller's unfortunately out. He's fighting Diego Brandao.
That's a good fight. Still Diego Brandao. I like him.
Yeah, slugfest, man. I know Conor. Like everyone's like, oh, Conor's obnoxious, big mouth. But dude, Conor's smart. He's not going to engage in those wild brawls that Brandao likes to do. So it's just going to be a nice thing. It's instead of Cole Miller, who is going to take the fight to the ground. Diego, he's just going to look to slug. So
yeah,
took action-packed main events that week. This is 3 days. This is the Saturday right after Cerrone Miller. So you're talking about Cerrone Miller. Then you got Conor versus Diego. It's like those are just action packed.
Mm-hmm. And then also on this card, I see Brad Pickett Fence taking on Ian McCall, Uncle Creepy.
I feel like if Pickett wins, he'll get he might get a title shot after Dodson. That's just me. I don't know. Pickett hasn't really impressed me in a while, and he's always I always consider him like a slow 135 pounder. So I'm just wondering how is he going to adjust to 125? But then again, Ian McCall, he hasn't really, as good as his fight was against Mighty Mouse, he pushed Mighty Mouse to the limit. He hasn't looked great since.
But the 1 July fight that you guys all got to watch in DVR and, just watch in general, Robbie Lawler versus Matt Brown. Anything else on that card, who gives a shit? Because it's Robbie Lawler versus Immortal Matt Brown. These motherfuckers are just going to kill each other. And that's going to be amazing. It's just going to be Like for all these people that love slugfests and don't care about ground game and all that other crap, and just want to see two people knock each other out, this is a fight that oh.
I still think, dude. By the way, I know look. The main events, we know it's incredible, but I think the overall card's also really good for Fox.
It's
They
good, but
open up with good old Josh Thompson against Michael Johnson. That's gonna be an interesting fight. Those two always at brain. Then you got the Carpenter Clay. He's back. He's going against Dennis Bermudez. A lot of people don't know Dennis Bermudez, but this guy's on like a 7-fight win streak. It's his first main card fight. Like, the UFC's just been burying this guy, but now he's finally, getting the love.
he's like Mr. Kennedy in TNA. He's just been getting buried, and now he's finally getting his spot to shine.
And co-main event, hey, look, man, we make fun of him, but right now we haven't heard of injuries. Lil Nog is healthy still.
Oh, what?
He hasn't been injured yet. He's fighting Rumble Johnson. And look, I expect Rumble Johnson to dismantle him, but hey, what's it called? It's intriguing if I just see Nogueira back in there, and how is he going to handle such a monster?
It's just so crazy that like 3 years ago, Anthony Rumble Johnson was fighting at 170.
He was fighting Dan Hardy.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. Now he's like light heavyweight. Finally, about damn time that. Because do you know how much Anthony Rumble Johnson weighed walking when he was cutting to 170?
I heard he was like 220.
I heard he was 250.
Sorry, 250, definitely not. Maybe 230.
I heard he was huge walking back then. Like I remember I would read that like he had to cut extreme. Like that guy was crazy, and he would miss weight a lot too. But July is just an epic. Week of fighting. Like it's just so many good fights. It's just amazing. It's like yes, this is what I want to see. But yeah, man, August looks okay for the most part. But
yeah, the August card I'm really looking forward to is the one in Macau. We got the great Kung Lee coming back. He's fighting Bisping. I think Bisping. He's not a do or die fight in terms of his job security. I think Bisping will always have a job.
Bisping has a job no matter what, man. He has a job no matter what, dude.
But to stay relevant in the title contention, like. What's it called? I feel like he needs to win this fight. Otherwise, people are just going to look at him as a commodity. People are going to look at him like Vanderlei Silva, just a fun fight guy at this point. If he wants to still be looked at as a contender, he needs to beat Kun.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because Kun Lee, let's just say, like he's not really like a fighter that will ever go for the title because he's an action movie star apparently. I don't know what movies he's in. I just know he does them, but. He's a guy that's a great attraction. That's for damn sure, and he can kick some ass when he needs to.
Exactly.
Like I'm not gonna lie. Like if no belt was on the line, I would love to see Anderson Silva and Kun Lee. Could you imagine Silva no hands and he's like, "Come on, Kun Lee, hit me."
That would be insane. Besides Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz,
that's the fight. That's the fight of the fucking century. Oh my God! Could you imagine?
Weekend, man. It's gotta happen. Super Bowl weekend.
Nick Diaz. That would be the Super Bowl halftime show. Could you imagine Nick Diaz and Anderson Silva just their press conferences? Like you would have like the people go, Anderson, how do you feel coming up from the leg injury? I'm fine. Nick, I respect Anderson, but I'm gonna beat you. And you're like a punk ass bitch, but I'm still gonna beat you. And like, he fucking can't speak English, man. Like, I'm gonna fucking beat you. Like, oh my, this will just be epic on all UFC. You have to make Anderson Silva and Nick Diaz happen.
You failed with Anderson GSP. At least give us this shit.
I don't even give a shit who wins. We're all winners. It will be the best phone calls, the best press conferences. It will be must see just because it's fucking Anderson trolling the media like he always does. Anderson likes to do that. Like, no, change anything and all that other crap. It's Nick Diaz like being the lovable dick that he is. Like, it would just be, that's money in the bank.
Dude, Nick Diaz would be like, yo, hit me, bitch. Come on, bitch. Ass in front, picks him. It's all over.
No, dude, like the whole fight, like the first round would just be them like taunting each other. Like, that'd be amazing. That is the most entertaining fight. Like not to prove who's the best fighter or anything, just pure entertainment. You want people to watch a fight. Nick Diaz, Anderson Silva. Make it happen. That will just be hilarious.
Yeah, because I think Anderson wants to come back early 2015. What better time than Super Bowl weekend?
Yeah, Super Bowl weekend. You have Anderson Silva, Nick Diaz. It's guaranteed that Anderson Silva probably would win that fight. Then you can set up Silva versus Weidman 3 or Silva versus is Rashad back from being like broken?
No, I don't know when he's coming for 20. Yeah, I think Rashad's also early 2015, kind of like Carlos Condon's also early
And
2015.
you
So
know what? If you cannot get Anderson Silva versus Nick Diaz, Anderson Silva versus Rashad Evans is still a good supplement.
yeah, they didn't mention him because they recently Ed Suarez, his manager, did an interview, and basically Anderson said he wanted either Nick Diaz or the winner of Kung Lee Bisping. That's what he wanted. So
He's
with 3 fine fights.
Anderson Silva has had like the biggest boner for Bisping for the longest time.
I don't know why, but hey, look, man. In terms of selling a fight, man, Bisping's top 5.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying like Anderson Silva has been wanting to fight Michael Bisping for like ever.
Yeah, I don't know why, but.
Like there's something about Michael Bisping that, but yeah, like I said, Kung Lee, and if he wants to fight Kung Lee, fuck yeah, dude, I'll be so down to watch that fight. Like that would be the most. Put that shit in Macau, and that shit would be awesome.
Poor Rich Franklin will be shaking when he watched it. You talk about Rich Franklin, his most devastating losses.
Yeah.
The 2 losses.
Don't remind me. I only remember the Rich Franklin that beat Evan Tanner and beat Chuck Liddell when everyone was choosing Chuck Liddell to kill him. I don't know this Rich Franklin that lost to Silva and Kung Lee.
Well, anyway, dude, we're gonna do another one next week. So
Yes.
let's hold some shit that we could talk to. But yeah, hopefully we get some breaking news next week. And other than that, we're gonna preview 175.
Yeah, UFC 175, Machida versus Weidman. Definitely one of their bigger events this year. Very stacked card. We also got Rousey versus Alexis. And we were supposed to have Vitor, Chael, and Wanderleo in a triple threat ladder match for the Money in the Bank briefcase, but that got canceled.
That was freaking. But yeah, they still got some fun fight. I'm looking forward to Struve Mitrione. I'm a sucker for all.
Yeah, Mitrione and Struve is a good fight too. Like skyscraper, represent the Netherlands proud, just like the Netherlands are doing in the World Cup.
Yeah, the weird thing is though, man, freaking Araya Faber. This is, I think, Fox Sports 1 ratings. They got Faber main eventing the prelims, which is just, I just find that really weird.
Yeah, man. I think it's Fox Sports 1 being like, we need a good prelim main event. So Faber equals whatever ratings they think it's going to equal. But don't get confused. It's not on ESPN. We all know ESPN went blue to copy Fox Sports 1 to get you fans confused. But don't be confused. Fox Sports 1 is still Fox Sports 1. That's where all the UFC is. ESPN likes to show, like, I don't know. What do they show on ESPN right now? Fighting-wise. Friday Night Boxing. There we go.
Todd Grisham.
Yeah, Todd Grisham. There we go. No, isn't Todd Grisham the soccer guy? I thought he was a soccer dude over ESPN.
He does boxing.
Oh, he does boxing now? God damn, they must be desperate.
Freaking Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico is talking about LeBron James to the World Cup. Unbelievable.
Mike Tirico is actually talking about shit there?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, God.
These guys, these football, basketball guys just need to stick together.
Yeah, seriously. Tirico, go stalk some women some more, you asshole.
There you go. Well, anyway, dude, it was great talking to the boys, and next week, we'll definitely break down 175. Sorry, this Mark Hunt picture, I'm just laughing.
It's a beautiful.
People are like, Mark Hunt, weren't you supposed to be fired like 8 years ago? Now you're in freaking the press row or the freaking first class on a plane with Dana White? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Dana takes care of his fighters.
At least the ones he loves.
Yeah, at least the ones he loves.
He doesn't care, guys. But Mark Hunt, dude, like I can guarantee you right now, Dane's just talking to Mark Hunt still about the Bigfoot fight. Like, yo, man, I was jumping on my couch.
I could see Dana right now watching that fight with him on like DVD or something, and he's like, "Dude, you hit him with the hook," and Mark Hunt's like, "Yeah, normal, did it." And he's like, Dana's like, "Oh, greatest fight ever." That's still a fucking good fight. That's the one fight y'all should check out. That's the only time I'll ever improve of a fighter on TRT is that fight right there.
Oh yeah, I forgot Bigfoot got busted. Poor guy.
But, poor Bigfoot Silva. He beat me up though in the UFC game. Oh God, it was terrible. He's like one of the hardest heavyweights in that game. It's ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't played it. I don't really play video games, but I do want to try it out. I hear it's awesome.
Yeah, no, because for some reason I can't, because like I normally make my guy to lightweight because like I'm one, because if I were to cut and to fight, I would have to be a lightweight because I'm only 5'8". But for some reason, because my game face has a fat face, they said I'm a 205 pounder, and I'm like, no. And so I moved up to the heavyweight game, and like I was knocking out JDS and Cain Velasquez like nothing. I faced Bigfoot Silva to defend my heavyweight title, and he knocks me out like nothing. I'm like, not fuck, Bigfoot. And I can't beat him. He's like my crutch. I can't beat Bigfoot Silva. It very pisses me off.
Damn.
Yeah, so Bigfoot Silva.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, Bigfoot Silva. Watch out for him in that UFC game. He may only be rated like an 83 overall, but that guy's a motherfucker beast.
Nice. All right, my man.
All right.
We'll talk next week. We'll plan it out, and I'm super stoked. And
Super stoked for
also recap.
175.
So you're gonna try to catch the 10 o'clock card. I'll probably watch if I get a clip of Mark Hart.
Yeah, I'll probably only see Mark Hart Tahuna, but I'm definitely watching the Fight Night card.
Yeah, there you go. All right, my man. Have a good night.
All right, later, man.